what's up, my lits? It's Julie here for the second episode of my Librarians vlogs. So, I know I look a mess. I know, I'm in a bathrobe and my eyes turning like crazy. But honestly, I just got back from the eye doctor and I got my eyes dilated and I cannot see anything because the dilation is giving me the effects of farsightedness, but I'm still nearsighted. So basically, it's just everything is blurry, and this is the only thing that I can do to see clearly is to film this. So that's what I'm doing for you. So today I'm here to talk about character development because season 2 of The Librarians was all about the character development. Everybody, some more so than others, but everybody had their own lessons to learn and ways to grow in this season, and it was wonderful. So, beginning with our lovely Mr. Jenkins. Now, Jenkins' character development kind of started throughout Season 1, and it really wasn't any specific moment in Season 2, but we did see him change from what he used to be. Now, Jenkins, in Season 1, especially at the beginning of Season 1, and then in the Apple of Discord, which, if you're going with the order that those episodes are supposed to be in and not in the airing order, would be very close to the end of the first season. Jenkins was always very annoyed that the Lits were there. He wanted to be on his own and not be bothered by anyone. He didn't like Ezekiel. He didn't like anybody up in his business. And he's like, you're not librarians. You don't belong here. Just let me be the caretaker and take care of the annex. But now, in Season 2, Jenkins has changed, and we see Jenkins embracing his role as a caretaker of the librarians. And we see him caring about these others and really starting to let himself become a part of their little family. And it grows and grows and grows as the season progresses until we see him in episode 6 taking care of them, in episode 7 giving Eve advice, until finally we get to episode 10 and he's saying that Eve Baird is his guardian. And it's just makes really Jenkins feel a part of the library, and he's learned how to be a part of the library and accept that he doesn't have to be alone and he can have these people in his life. Next up is Cassandra, and this development for her was more so over season 1 too, but mostly in season 2. Cassandra, my darling sweetie child, has learned how to not let the fear of death rule her. Originally, Cassandra she never really let the brain tumor loom over her head. But we do see in the end of the finale scene, when they're all reading the Shakespeare quotes, that she's talking about death does not have power over her. In the 4th episode, we see her get the opportunity to live forever and be magical with these ladies of the lake people, whatever the hell that was, the mermaids, whatever you want to call it. She got the opportunity to be with them and live forever, and she said no, because now I'm at the library and I have control of my life. And she made that big speech to Jenkins about having control of her life, and it didn't matter if she got less life, because she had control of it, and she has friends and people who care about her and stuff she never had, and she just wants to have this life. Even if she doesn't have a lot of life, she wants this life, and she's learned to just live her life and accept the moment as it is. And I don't know, someone suggested on Tumblr if that means that she's no longer going to go with a selected death date. We haven't really gotten more elaboration on that. Maybe we'll get it in season 3, but Cassandra has grown a lot in that way. My heart. Let's move on to Eve. Now, Eve has learned a lot this season, mostly in her relationship with Flynn, and in how to handle that relationship. And Eve's character development is about learning how to accept him for who he is, and learning to accept the relationship for what it is, and just relationships in general. We see her and Flynn fighting in season 2 at the beginning, and, as soon as they get into one little fight and he says, I have to leave, rather than trying to work it out and talk about their issues, she's like, okay, go. And she's just being mad at him. But Eve has grown so much, and she's thinking it might be over. But Eve has grown so much from there, and this mostly comes in her speech to Moriarty and the Happily Ever Afters, when she says to him, real love is hard. And happily ever afters don't exist in the way that fairy tales mean them. Eve has learned that, relationships are going to be rocky, and there's going to be fights, and there's going to be problems, but I think she always knew that, but what she didn't know is that that doesn't mean that you can't have a happy ending and be happy in those relationships. And I think we see by the finale that she has definitely learned that with Flynn, things are going to be hard. There's always going to be hardships, but that's okay. And she can be secure in this relationship and still be happy. And you know what? He doesn't have to be exactly what she wants him to be. And it's just so cute. And she has also learned, like Jenkins, how to be part of the family, which mostly came in season 1 for her. That was her season 1 character development. But in season 2, it grew even more to her saying to Flynn that she missed the Litz and she didn't want to be off on their own anymore, because as nice it was, and as much as she loved being off with him and loved him, the Litz, that's her family. And, you know, in episode 1, we see her, the first episode of the series, we see her talking about how she gets sick of her friends and her family, and now in season 2, to wanting to be with them all the time. Next up on our character development journey, we have Professor Jacob Stone. I love Jake, and I love Jake's story and Jake's character so much because it's so complex and deep, and it's so beautiful. And this season especially, and Jake's character development came through in the episode And What Lies Beneath the Stones. Each character that I've been talking about has had a specific episode where we really see their character development shine through, except for Jenkins. For Eve, it was And the Happily Ever Afters. For Cassandra, it was And the Cost of Education. And for Jake, it was And What Lies Beneath the Stones, which was our Jake-centric episode. And, you know, we see him in this episode kind of reverting back to his pilot episode self, where he was just acting like a cowboy. He was acting, like, hostile with his friends a little bit, not telling the truth because he was around his dad, and he was afraid of what his dad would think. But by the end of the episode, he ends up telling Hokonote, his dad, about, I'm a genius, I know all of this, and then he realizes that he's not speaking to his father. And when he does face his actual father, he doesn't tell him the truth. And that's because Jake has learned that he doesn't have to live to please his family. That, yeah, his family wants him to be this cowboy, and he always pretended to be that because he wasn't going to be the art historian, because he thought, my family's not going to accept the art historian, and I can't tell them that I'm the art historian and be that person because they're not going to accept that. But in this episode, Jake learns that even if his family doesn't know the real him, that's okay for him because he can be himself, and it doesn't matter if that's not what his family accepts. And I love it so much. And then again, we see when he gives his Shakespeare speech about being who you are and embracing your true self, and the big moment when he writes his paper and puts his own name on the paper rather than Dr. Oliver Thomas. Oh, yay. Ezekiel Jones. Oh my god. Ezekiel's character development all came through in like a half an hour. The second half of an episode, and that is And the Point of Salvation, was Ezekiel-centric, Ezekiel's character development episode. And oh my goodness, my heart. He lives this same day with the other librarians and Eve, going hundreds and hundreds of times, watching them die. And this shows Ezekiel what the team really means to him. He learns through speeches with them and working with them each individually multiple times. He learns who his friends are. He learns how much his friends mean to him, how much he cares about them, really, and that he can be a hero. He knows that he can be a hero. He doesn't always have to be the bad guy. You don't always have to be the bad guy. He can be a hero, and he can care about people, and it's okay. And he can be this person that he never thought he could be when he was just a thief on the run. Ezekiel, darling, sweetie. Final character development I have to discuss today is the character development in Mr. Flynn Carson. Oh my goodness, this entire season, we got to see Flynn's journey to become a new man, and it was beautiful. Now, at the beginning of the season, Flynn was kind of being an ass. I mean, it was very cute because it was all based upon the fact how much he was in love with Eve, But that's all he could focus on. He's like, it's you and me. I'm the librarian. These are just junior librarians. It was all him. He just wanted the focus on him because that's all he had ever known. And he was always running away whenever he and Eve got in a fight because he had never really had a relationship like that. And I'm out of experience with people, he said. He didn't know how to handle it when there was a fight, much like Eve, but in a different way. He's like, okay, we're fighting. She doesn't want to be with me. I gotta go. And he thought it all had to be about him. But, through fighting with Eve and then seeing the alternate universe where Eve was with Moriarty, that became a big wake-up call for Flynn. And it doesn't just have to be about him. And we see him grow, and the fact that he knows the Lits well enough to break them from their spell and tell them who they are when we think he didn't care about them at all, and then he knows about them well enough to help them break from their spell and realize their true selves, and he can give them each this long-winded speech about their character and their self, and they were all such beautiful things that he said too, so he really does know them and he really does care. And then when he has to tell his story, he says that I'm not the librarian, I'm a librarian. And I thought his character development is summed up in that speech, that I thought all I needed was to be solving puzzles and magic and being on my own on the run. But now I know that I need more. And it goes past the fact of needing Eve, which is adorable. But he needs the relationship with Eve. He needs the steadiness of the home of the library. He needs friends, people who care about him, the Lits, Jenkins, Eve. And he needs to be part of this unit. He can't be on his own. It's okay, and he's just learned how to be a part of the team, and he's learned how to care about the others, and he's learned how to make it work with Eve, and I just can't. Flynn's character development was so gorgeous, and oh. So, that's all I got for you today, Lits. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks without the librarians. Oh my God, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I'm not ready for this 10-month hiatus because I'm already speculating about season 3, and it's been off the air for 2 weeks. But, back on Thursday, which is today, back here in the past, on Thursday, Dean Devlin tweeted that he's starting to work on the stories for season 3 already, so I'm super excited. Well, my Lits, that's it for today. I will see you next week with 101 Reasons to Watch the Librarians. Bye!